All right, still with me, criminal defense attorney David Bruno and former Department of Justice senior attorney Tammy Allison. And David, let me start with you. You know, I think all of us would sort of be a little bit worried if somebody was going to dig into our phones and start checking out texts that we made with friends. And I wrote in big letters throughout the day, context. You know, context is important. The relationship and the experiences you have with friends may have something to do with the types of things that you're willing to say with them that you really don't want the world to see. We all forget that text can be seen by everyone at some point if they really want to see them. But your thoughts on that, this idea that they're going in, they're looking at texts between friends and want them to say something about Depp to this jury?
This is a defamation case, and he's the plaintiff. He brought this action. And this is what you open yourself up to when you allege that your reputation has been damaged by untrue statements, and that is what this case is about. And now it's her and the defense team to show the truth behind what she said in the op-ed. And unfortunately for Mr. Depp, he has all of these communications. At times, he's under the influence. Clearly, he has a drug issue. And I would imagine that a lot of the communications that he writes, subject to what he's being cross-examined now, we're not in a sober mindset. So he opened himself up to it with the plaintiff's case. And unfortunately for him and many others like him, it opens you up to these types of attacks.
Yes, it does. And Tammy, I want to give you a chance to answer a question that quite a few folks online had posed. Part of what we were hearing about his relationship with Paul Bettany and Marilyn Manson, for instance, had to do with the fact that they did a lot of drugs together. So a lot of people online were asking, I thought this case was about abusing Amber, not drugs and alcohol. And so I want you to answer that question. Why is the defense making such a big deal about all the alcohol and drug abuse by Johnny Depp?
I think the defense is making a big deal about it because the plaintiff, Johnny Depp, and his team made a big deal about it. Let's not remember, we started hearing the testimony of Johnny Depp talking about his use of drugs and alcohol. That is what we heard. We heard from his doctor's friends, the nurses, about his use of drugs and alcohol in his defamation case against her, as if that was going to minimize any of these bad acts that have come out. But in fact, what it has done is only made it worse. The fact that he's acting like this and treating her in such a violent way that we've seen on the video, but also casually talking about killing her with his other friend, who is also an actor, is gross whenever you combine it with the fact that they are both indulging in drugs and alcohol. That only makes it even more likely that these things that some people are taking lightly could actually happen if they're under the influence.
Yeah, and gross is the right word. I mean, it's just really gross. And finally, Dave, quickly, talk about the advantage it is for actually both parties, really, to have had a previous case where they basically know what everyone's going to say.
Yeah, but real quick on the drug and alcohol abuse. Look, Amber did not look very good in the direct examination, the way that she acted in some occasions. And it's very clear right off the cross-examination that the attorney was going to show that Amber was not happy about the drug use, was not happy about the alcohol use, and almost explains how Amber was during some of the encounters. So I think there's relevance to that point there. As far as the prior case, look, then there's transcripts. Now, this is a civil case, so there's depositions. So the litigants have the opportunity to depose witnesses and get transcripts. But more than just the deposition, there was a prior case. All of those transcripts are available as well. And once you start testifying like Johnny Depp has here in the UK case, in the depositions, now this is his third time testifying at least. The attorneys get to cross-examine based on all those prior statements, looking for inconsistencies, and it just gives more firepower to cross-examination.
That's right. It just makes it a lot easier to undercut things that folks are saying. If you're just off by a little bit, they've got transcripts. They can impeach you, and that certainly doesn't look good in the eyes of the jury. All right, stand by, guys. We're going to take a break. Coming up next,